Hello, twisted humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting? Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alicia. And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked. Hello, and welcome back to your favorite podcast. This is episode 173, and I apologize if I mess up speaking today. My voice box was ripped out by a sea witch, to be exact. Today's story will be my pick of your special topic pick, faked deaths.
Say that sentence 5 times fast. Jesus.
Right? There will be twists and turns, but overall, it's a pretty short story. So I'm actually planning on starting with a bit of a list of some crazy almost deaths.
Ooh,
but first, do you have a fun fact?
My fun fact is related to my costume, in which I did not get my voice box ripped out, thankfully, but I did get scratched by a beast. It's a real bummer. So, Beauty and the Beast has its roots in 1740. A novel by French writer Gabrielle Susan Barbeau had written the original book, in which it was taken by the Brothers Grimm, where they inspired their dark and twisty version of it. And then Disney found that version and was like, hey, this is real creepy, but we can make it cool but still creepy. And thus Beauty and the Beast was born. Also, weird fact about Belle is that in the original story, she had multiple brothers, and Gaston was based on a real bodybuilder with lyrics self-titled about eating 5 dozen eggs, so I'm roughly the size of a barge. Gaston always needed to be animated as a muscular tank of a man in every version, and thus Disney adapted those lyrics.
Nice.
Those are some fun facts about Beauty and the Beast. I had no idea it was from 1747.
I did know that he was based on a bodybuilder, but I don't remember how I knew that. I think it's an actual human person too, like not
named
just
Gaston. That's a bodybuilder.
I don't know if his name was Gaston, but I think that's from what I remember. Like the person had a bodybuilder in mind when they created Gaston, like
enough.
A specific guy.
Yeah, he's real big.
He is real big,
and he wants Belle, and Belle wants nothing to do with him.
Yeah,
he wants to marry for love, not for muscles.
She just wants fucking books. She don't give a shit about love or marriage or anything.
It is true. That is why we
book lady
are Belle, and Belle is us. If we could have that library, better believe we would do it in a heartbeat, guys.
Definitely. My fun fact is sort of about my costume. These tears that I'm crying, okay, is to help me with the pain that I'm feeling in my throat, because apparently emotional tears contain a hormone that is a natural painkiller. It's an endorphin that helps to improve mood and lessen pain. It's a certain chemical that I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pronounce, but let me try. It's a chemical called leucine enkephalin. Leucine enkephalin. I don't know why doctors come up with these, or scientists come up with these names, but interesting. All right.
I like it. I think you nailed it, but I would never know any better. And I'm almost certain if you are a doctor and you are listening to the show, please email us immediately, because we must know.
What are you drinking?
I am featuring our same white wine from last week, the Chardonnay. However, I did run out of time in the midst of eating dinner and making this costume to make the sangria. That, and I also intended to make it this weekend for Canadian Thanksgiving, because I am the Canadian half of this podcast, if you are new. And we are meeting my parents at their final camping trip site, and we are having Friendsgiving, so I'm very excited for that. So naturally, I had to make something to please the crowd besides my spinach and artichoke dip. So what you're gonna need for this spooky monster mash sangria are lychees and blueberries. You're going to place the blueberry inside of the lychee to make it look like an eyeball. You are also going to need sliced apples. You are going to need a little splash of apple juice. You're going to use apple bourbon. You're going to add a splash of green food coloring and your sparkling white wine. And if you're feeling extra crafty, you can rim your glasses with red sprinkles, the same red sprinkles that we used for our vampire sangria a few weeks ago, if you feel so inclined. And it looks like a little green liquid with eyeballs floating in it. And it's super cute. So I'm excited to make it. And that is our Monster Mash sangria.
I would love to try that.
Well, I will let you know if it's good. And then when you come and visit me, I'll make it for us. It can be like April when you visit, and I will still make it Halloween themed.
Yeah. It'll be fine.
It's fine. But right now I'm just drinking the white wine. What do you got?
I really wanted hot chocolate, but I'm trying to be healthy and that is not. And so I'm just drinking protein chocolate milk.
You know what? Life's all about balance. I'm sad you're not drinking it in your fancy. Oh my God, it has a. Oh, it's so cute.
That's Fiona.
Did you get it at the zoo this year?
Not this year. My stepmom got it a couple years ago and sent it to me.
Oh, I didn't know you had a Fiona mug. Because we got to see Fiona, guys.
Fiona is awesome. Okay.
Fiona is awesome.
We are going to start talking about some crazy shit in just a bit. But first, we are going to hear a promo from a podcast called Uncomfortable. Are you ready?
Yes.
While I was looking for a story for this episode, I was trying to think outside the box and look for stories of people who showed up alive at their own funerals. Remember, I said my story was like your story? That's the connection. Going to your own funeral.
Dead or alive. Dead in quotations.
But when I was looking for that, I found a shocking amount of people who actually woke up at their funerals. As in, even the doctors thought they were dead, but then they weren't. So I wanted to talk to you about some of those instances first.
It's that's why they have bells above graves, which is really fucked up. Like this happened enough times in life that they needed to do that.
You know, I would say, yeah, you're right. Except most of the ones I'm going to tell you about happened in the 2000s. So we don't do that anymore.
What the fuck?
So
that's worse.
The oldest instance of this that I brought to you is from October 2nd, 1571, when a farmer named Matthew Wall had died. His casket was being carried by pallbearers down the street when one of them slipped on a leaf and dropped him. When the casket fell, it jolted Matthew awake, and he knocked on the casket and was let out. And he went on to live another 24 years. Because of this, the town in the UK where it happened turned October 2nd into a holiday. It's called Old Man's Day.
Can you imagine retelling that story to your friends? Like, remember that one time you guys thought I was dead?
Yeah. And on that day, the tradition is to sweep that street so no one else has to slip on a leaf and drop a casket, which actually sounds a bit counterintuitive to me, because if he hadn't slipped, Matthew may have been buried alive on accident. Okay. I feel like a better option would to be, let's drop all caskets before we bury them. But that sounds a little harsh. Yeah, just in case. Right? Let's just drop it.
Throw a dead body around for a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah. The sweeping was Matthew's idea, though. So I guess do whatever he wants. He's a miracle. Other stories that I have found of people waking up at their funerals were not so life-changing and were actually probably extremely traumatic. In 2014, a Mississippi man named Walter Williams was placed into a body bag by hospital staff after he had stopped breathing and was pronounced dead. But when he was put on the embalming table, he was found to be breathing and his leg twitching. He was taken back to the hospital room and lived for 2 more weeks. Then he died for a final time. Imagine like the hospital notifying your family, like, sorry, he passed. And they're like getting everything ready. Be like, just kidding, he's back. And then again, sorry, he passed. Are you for real this time though? Like the fuck?
Have you
For
done
real?
every test to make sure?
Right,
Like,
right.
fuck.
Okay. So in 2018, an unnamed woman in South Africa was in a car accident in which her vehicle rolled multiple times and then it was hit by another car. She was declared dead at the scene, but was later found alive and breathing in the morgue's body cooler. Imagine opening that up and one of them are alive. What?
No. That's how you have a heart attack and die. Like, it's already creepy being in a morgue as it is, and then just no.
I
would hand in my 2 weeks at that point.
Right, because we don't have her name. I don't know how long she lived after being found, or if being freezing cold was enough to, help her carry on into not living. I didn't want to be rude about it. In 2020, a woman named Tamisha Beecham called emergency services when she was having trouble breathing at her home in Michigan.
Oh, shit.
Paramedics tried to resuscitate her for 30 minutes when they found her unresponsive, and eventually she was declared dead and placed into a body bag.
Oh, no.
When the funeral home employee opened the body bag later, he found the woman with her eyes open, breathing. Like, who's paying these morgue and funeral home people? Because they're not getting paid enough for this.
No.
They signed up for dead people, not
here's my 2 weeks.
Spontaneously alive.
Goodbye.
People. The fuck? Oh my God, imagine. Oh. Okay.
No.
There's more. There's more.
I don't want to.
In 2023, a 66-year-old unnamed woman in a nursing home was declared dead by staff when they could no longer find a pulse. But when her body arrived at the funeral home, the director could clearly see her chest rising and falling, and she was taken to the hospital. She died officially 2 days later. The same year, 2023, a woman named Janet Balducci was declared dead by her nursing home in New York. She was then also found alive by a funeral home director struggling to breathe in the body bag. And she died for real a day later. And then 1 year after that, this past June 2024,
no,
Constance Glantz, a woman in Nebraska, was declared dead by the nursing home she was in and found to be breathing by the funeral home she was sent to. She died officially later that same day. Listen, people, please do not pull the plug on me, okay? I might just be napping so hard that my heart decided to take a nap also. I'll be back. Okay, I'll be back. There's a lot.
How do we test? How do we be like,
I can't believe this is still happening.
Skyline chili, a bag of candy corn, and Florida red wine. Wake up, bitch.
I mean, that, but also like just put me in one
Nick
of those.
Jonas is standing in front of you.
Put me in one of those viewing boxes, okay? Until I start to deteriorate, I might come back. Disgusting. Just watch me for a while.
No.
Right? I need a 2-week-long wake. Thank you. Don't touch me. Just watch me.
If that's not asking for too much.
Okay.
No, I feel like we could settle that really fast with Nick Jonas. Like, I need to see my friend die.
Listen, if I'm napping, I don't know if
dead.
Do you understand how much I have been working myself lately. Okay. This might be tomorrow. I might nap for 8 days starting tomorrow. I need 2 full weeks. Okay. Even Nick Jonas can't wake me when I'm this tired.
Ah,
I'm asleep. I don't know what's going on.
for
My
love's
brain is
kiss.
off.
Sleeping Beauty, anyone?
Wrong, princess.
She didn't make it to this episode party, but
It's because all the men suck and she's still asleep.
true story.
Okay, let's get into today's story about another woman who also happened to be alive at her own funeral, but for much different reasons. In 2015, a man named Balanga Kalala was hosting a memorial service for his wife, Noela Rukundo, after she had suffered a tragic accident. Air quotes. She had left her husband and 8 children to head to her home country all alone to attend her mother's funeral. But her home country was not a very safe one, and there were many dangers that she faced by simply being there. Noela was from Burundi, a country in Africa that is bordered by Rwanda, Tanzania, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. All 4 countries have had wars and crime amongst themselves and each other for the last hundreds of years. Burundi specifically is considered the poorest country in the world per capita, the least happy country in the world, and one of the least developed. According to Wikipedia, it, quote, faces widespread poverty, corruption, instability, authoritarianism, and illiteracy, end quote. So being involved in a tragic accident while visiting there is not surprising. Noela had actually immigrated to Australia in 2005 to make a better life for herself and her 5 children. Around the same time, Balanga had come to Australia as a refugee, escaping the Congo, where his wife and child had been murdered by random violence. In Australia, Noela and Balanga had the same resettlement agency worker helping them in their transition, and this worker would regularly ask Balanga to translate for Noela, as she only spoke Swahili at the time, and he was able to speak English. It was in these communications that the two had fallen in love, which is
Aww.
adorable. Like, he's the only one who can understand her.
It is kind of beautiful. It's like almost Disney, like
Yeah.
in terms of a love story. Yeah.
Yeah. Too bad this is a Disney Grim episode. They were eventually married, had 3 children together, and were a big, happy family for 10 years. And that brings us back to Noela's memorial. All of Balanga's family and friends were consoling him and giving their best wishes for his sad new reality. He had just started walking the guests out to their vehicles when suddenly Noela appeared to him. He was terrified, a look of pure shock on his face. He walked up to her slowly and said, "Is it my eyes? Is it a ghost?" and reached a hand out to try and touch her. When he felt her shoulder was solid and lifelike, he jumped back and asked, "Noela, is it you?" Her reply was, "Surprise, I'm alive."
Surprise.
And that's when the police showed up.
Oh shit.
And Balanga began apologizing profusely. Not because he was sorry for what he had done, but because he had gotten caught. Doing what, you may ask? Let's go back to Noela's trip. When Noela had gotten to Burundi, she was exhausted mentally from the sadness she felt losing her mom and having to leave her 8 kids in Melbourne for this. And she was exhausted literally because there's a 9-hour time difference from Melbourne to Burundi. But her
Jesus.
loving husband had called her often to check in on her and also question what she was doing awake or asleep at certain hours of the day. I don't think he knows how time zones work. Noella said he was always a little hot headed, so this did not come across as weird to her at all. She actually thought it was a loving act to worry for her.
Oh.
But Belinga had ulterior motives.
Mm.
During one phone call, he suggested she go outside of her hotel room and get some fresh air, and she thought that was a great idea. But as soon as she walked outside, there was a man with a gun aimed at her, coming closer. The man said to Noella, "Don't scream. If you start screaming, I will shoot you. They're going to catch me, but you will already be dead." And so she complied. The man walked Noella to a car where two other men were waiting to usher her into the back seat. Then they covered her eyes with a scarf and drove her off to a second location, which was about a 30 or 40-minute drive. When the vehicle finally stopped, they walked her into a building, still blindfolded, and tied her into a chair. Then they began interrogating her, asking her why their boss would want her dead. Noella was very confused. She didn't understand why anyone would want her dead, and she didn't know who their boss was. They told her that they were paid $7,000 Australian to kill Noella, paid by a man named Balanga Kalala.
Oh, a name.
It is a name. Noella was in disbelief. She told them that that's her husband's name and he would never do that to her. There was no way he was the person they were paid by. So the men called the boss on speakerphone. When the phone was answered, the men said into the phone, "We already have her." The man replied with two words that shattered Noella's heart because she knew without a doubt that it was her husband's voice when he simply said, "Kill her." She thought for sure she was going to be dead right then as the hitmen
No.
described to Balanga where they planned to dump her lifeless body, and then she blacked out. When Noella woke back up, she realized that she had just fainted and she was unharmed. The hitmen told her now that they did not plan to kill her. They actually knew her brother, and besides, they had morals. They might have been paid killers, but they would never murder women or children, especially
Well, they were
over
just gonna
something
take the money and leave. That's a bold move.
especially over something as trivial as Belanga thinking that Noella was cheating on him. That was his motive, by the way. Also, by the way, she
Sure.
was not cheating on him. Not in all 10 years did Noella ever cheat on her husband.
He needs to calm down.
Yeah, like possessive much? There's a 9-hour time difference. Of course, she's awake at night.
Sir, get some therapy and learn about time zones.
Now that the hitmen had Noella there, they just wanted Belanca's money. They actually called him and said they needed $3,000 more to do the job, and he gave it up. The hitmen also recorded the incriminating conversation with Belanga so that Noella could use it as evidence against her husband and get him locked up before he could try hiring someone else to finish the job. Like, what kind of amazing hitmen are these?
I don't know, but I love them. They are the undersold
Oh
heroes of
my
the
God.
story,
You know who
kind
this
of.
reminds me of? This reminds me of Hades' two little henchmen in Hercules.
Oh, Pain and Panic.
Yes. Pain and listen, they're crazy, but they're actually good people.
They
Okay.
are.
Good
The
little
only reason I
demons.
answered that so fast as well, guys, is because that is what my original fish names were supposed to be
Oh.
before I ended up with five, which two of them are Pain and Panic. But sad fact, Hercules was the one that died. So the biggest one.
Was he shot by lightning?
No,
He forgot
unfortunately.
to catch it.
He did. He did. And now Hades is running around being a dick. And
Oh
it's just a
God.
bummer. It's true.
Sounds like
I'm
real
not
life.
even exaggerating. It is real
Someone
life.
cut his lifeline. They had good scissors. Okay.
You used that same joke last October, by the way.
What's the matter with these scissors? One day I'm gonna get the scissors tattooed on me, okay? With the
Please
lifeline. I
do
really
it.
their hands and everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the creepy witch hand. You have to.
Yes. I love
I
it.
will do it. I'll do it too. Your witch hand can be holding one end of the string. My witch hand can be holding the other end of the string.
And when we stand next to each other, it makes a lifeline.
That would be funny. I think that's a great best friend tattoo.
Yeah.
If 500 people subscribe to our Patreon, we will do that.
For sure.
No questions asked. Get 500 of your closest friends. That's even at $1, and we will go get those tattoos
Immediately. The men kept Noella with them for 2 days, enough time for her husband to think she was really dead, and then sent her off to get on a plane and head home. And to her surprise, her once loving husband was already having her memorial service. Belanga Kalala was arrested and charged with incitement to murder. He pleaded guilty, knowing there was too much evidence against him to try to fight it. And he was sentenced to 9 years in prison with the possibility of parole after 6, which seems really short, but also he just paid them. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of more like attempted murder, and we know how I feel about it, how we feel about attempted murder charges. They should be much longer, but this feels about right with attempted murder,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Again, just because you failed at murdering somebody does not mean you should get leniency.
Yeah, you shouldn't get to try again. That's awful.
Practice makes perfect.
His excuse was, quote, sometimes the devil can come into someone to do something, but after that, they start thinking, why did I do that thing? End quote.
What does that even mean? Like, that doesn't even feel like
He
real
was
English.
possessed.
Yeah.
Well, he's from the Congo, so it's probably not
Fair.
real English.
Fair,
English is
fair.
definitely not his first language,
Like a translation.
but
Okay, that makes more
still,
sense.
yeah. Still, you can't just blame demons. Okay, you can't do that. You cannot.
Literally on my way home, somebody was driving so slow, and I was like, you cannot commit murder. You cannot commit murder.
Tell yourself.
It was the
From
demons.
from what I could find, Belenga did not get parole, but this year, 2024, marks his 9 years. So I assume he will be released if he hasn't been already. Noella said she suffers from nightmares from this incident. Specifically haunting her is the voice of the person she loved and trusted saying, kill her. But despite all that, she forgives Belenga. She said, quote, he is a human being. From my heart, I forgive him. Let God judge him. End quote. And to that I say, karma is a bitch.
True story.
That's it. That is the grim Disney story for you.
It also,
started
much
out
like
as a
my
love
case,
story.
feels like you should have it as a movie. Like, truly.
Right? Yeah.
That
Yeah.
story was insane.
Someone make
Good job,
Noella
though.
a movie.
And thank you to Tara for suggesting the fake deaths topic.
Yes.
That
This
was a fun one to explore.
Agreed.
For sure.
No one had to die.
Sometimes we need that, really.
Yeah, we really do.
Especially leading up to our next serial killer.
Ugh.
So if you liked this week's episode, which we know you did, you should leave us a 5-star rating and review. This is a great story. I know Sierra has to go to bed, but first, what is she super stoked about? What's good? What's going on?
Listen, I'm just excited that it's about to be the weekend because I, for some reason, decided that Monday through Friday, I'm going to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I can't wait for Saturday.
Why can't you do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Like ease yourself in until you're out of school.
Because if I give myself a break day, then I just won't. Like it's too easy to just be like, I didn't go yesterday. I might as well not go today. It's not doing anything, you know? But next week is my last week of school. So My last week. I'm so
It's
excited.
very exciting. That
Yeah.
and you got to earn the inevitable bags of candy corn you've been eating.
Mm-hmm. It's just half of one bag. Okay. So far.
And we are recording this on October 10th.
It is pretty early in October.
It's okay. While you've been telling me this story, I've been eating Jolly Rancher lollipops. So
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a lollipop. My
You're a
favorite are
sucker
still
for a
the green.
sucker.
I didn't even plan that. The green apple caramel ones are definitely my
Yes.
favorite. The green apple Jolly Rancher is pretty good. And then they also have a pink lemonade. And that's what I'm eating right now. It's pretty good. I am thankful for spooky season. I booked Kevin and I tickets to go to something called Pumpkins After Dark next week.
Nice. Is it
So
like
we go
the
to
light
pumpkin
show of
patches
pumpkins?
every year, but yeah, it's like a light show for pumpkins, and
That's
then they have like
amazing.
spooky mazes with like lights in them and stuff.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. I'm very excited. So our yearly obligatory pumpkin photo will be in front of something light up and in the dark this year.
Yeah. Don't get lost in the maze like we did that one time.
Oh my God. I still feel I feel like your children are gonna need therapy after that incident. I
It was
like
great. It
Sissy
was so
was
much
so
fun.
scared.
It was so much fun.
She's like, we really need to get out of here. Somebody's gonna murder us. And then Bubba cried because he really thought somebody was gonna murder us. Not good. Yeah, don't do mazes in the dark, guys. Pro tip.
Or do.
Or do. But
Listen, if
be
you ever
prepared for
feel
tears.
like you can't get out, okay, I lie. Don't do hay mazes in the dark. Do corn mazes in the dark because you can just walk straight. Just keep walking straight. You'll get out eventually. It might hurt. The corn will hit you in the face, but you'll get out. Okay, it's fine. It is fine.
Halloween safety brought
Yeah.
to you by Twisted and Uncorked. I love it. It's true. Yeah, they had a big light in the sky too. It's like just follow the light.
Yeah, follow the light. Oh no.
Oh, I love it though. But yes, I'm thankful for that. I'm super excited. I will report back. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving on the day that we're recording this. And yeah, I will see you guys next week for our serial killer episode.
Mm.
And in the meantime,
Keep it twisted.
Twisted and Uncorked is a proud member of Weirding Way Media. Hosted and produced by Sierra Zorn and Alicia Watson. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can check out all things Twisted on our website, twistedanduncorked.com, and we will see you next Tuesday for a brand new episode.